All right,
Okay, welcome to the September 18th, 2024 meeting of the Executive Committee. My name is Sandra McKee. I'm the chair of the committee. Tonight, we are joined by District Manager Jesus Perez, and the meeting is called to order at 6:33. Members of the public attending virtually, please, you can raise any questions or comments through the Q&A feature of Zoom. Members of the public who are here in person, you can raise any questions they have by raising your hand. If there's time following the discussion, we will field questions from the public. CB6 Assistant Secretary Rupal Kakad will be taking the minutes this evening. And we will now take attendance by roll call. Jesus will conduct the roll call.
all right. When I call your name, please indicate whether you are present. Majed Abdul Samad.
Present.
Okay, Kyle Athaid.
Present.
All right. Neil Barkley is on his way. Elby Barroso.
Present.
Thank you. John DeRico is absent. Stu Desser.
Present.
Thank you. Dee Disman.
Present.
Thank you. Jason Promowitz.
Present.
Thank you. Rupal Kakad.
Present.
Thank you. John Keller.
Present.
Thank you. Nad Kilani.
Present.
Thank you. Anton Malner.
Present.
Thank you. Sandy McKee.
Present.
Thank you. Rich Mintz is absent. Livia Shrednick.
Present.
Thank you. Mark Thompson.
Present.
Thank you. Gabe Turzo is absent. And with 11 members duly present, we do have quorum.
Okay, the agenda for tonight's meeting is on the screen before you. If there's no objection, we will adopt the agenda. If you have any objections, please raise your hand. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The minutes from August's meeting are still being reviewed, and once they are ready to be adopted, they will be sent to the committee. Ground rules, hopefully we all know these. No one speaks until granted the floor. Committee members, if you're here in person, have a question about committee business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and I will identify you to speak. Committee members unable to attend in person, if you have a question about committee business, you may raise your hand through Zoom. All committee members, it's important that only one person speak at a time so that members of the public can understand you. The chat function for committee members present via Zoom should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made by raising your hand. Please don't use chat unless it's for technical difficulties. Tonight's agenda. Chair's report. Well, we're starting a new year. Hopefully committees are robust and we have some new members. I think everybody's, I'm not sure everybody's had a chance to have a meeting yet with all the new members. Housing hasn't had a meeting. Parks hasn't had a meeting. Education hasn't had a meeting.
I just have one.
Yeah,
And I think
right. Unfortunately,
the other one,
couldn't make the schedule, so we'll work that out. And we've got, I guess, several roles that we've filled. We have representatives on the bid. David Lowenstein is our representative. I think everybody knows that Jason's on the East Midtown Governing Group.
Public ground?
Public Realm, sorry.
No, I think.
There's in there, governing groups in there somewhere. Actually, Susan Steinberg is our representative on the ESCR. And I've asked Rupal to be sort of the lead for MSBI issues. And we actually had a conference call with I think they call themselves
The coalition.
Coalition.
Yeah, coalition.
And so, I don't know, do you want to give a brief update or just?
Yes, I could give very vague updates because I realized a lot of things that were discussed were not Look,
Public, okay. Anyway,
So I don't want to say something I'm not supposed to say in a public forum.
okay. Anyway, there is, community response to the proposed closing of MSBI. And we're looking to what we can do as the board to participate in any way possible. We had a brief meeting about social media. Olivia, do you want to give a bit of a recap?
Sure, so we talked about kind of different ways we could share information with the public, so we said maybe having like Instagram stories to talk about upcoming meetings. So more people would know about them and, you know, maybe attend. We said maybe having monthly posts to do a recap of what's happened in the community board, but also at the full board meeting. So pictures from the meeting, maybe some snippets from the YouTube. Because I'm already doing the minutes, so if there are clips that are, I think, interesting or that people might want to see, I could easily include them, and then a little summary and the caption. If people are up to it, we thought interviews with some members could be interesting, so either shorter ones with just some questions, especially during application season, about like what inspired you to join the board, what advice do you have for people applying, you know, how long have you been on the board? Is there a resolution you're particularly proud of? Things like that. We also thought a longer form conversation with maybe a newer member and a member who's been on the board for a longer time could be interesting. So just different ways to include people, to share information about the board. We're also very open to feedback and suggestions. I'm working with Jerry on it, and so if you have ideas, please feel free to share them with us.
Okay.
I love the idea of the interviews. and talking.
Yeah, I'm
Thinking
excited
back
about
to the whole
those.
Mentoring process, and I was thinking, well, that's a great idea.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh,
Yeah, have community boards offered scholarship?
no, we don't have funds for scholarships, unfortunately. I mean, we can, maybe if we know of them, maybe the education committee can let, you know, make people aware of scholarships that are available. But we don't fund that scholarship, no. Stu?
What about some kind of coverage of community issues? You know, whether it's, well, you look like you were about to respond, so.
No, go ahead, I'll let you finish.
I can finish right there, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think the issues are probably things that will come from the committees.
Yeah.
So if there's something that a committee has that they feel is a, you know, really pertinent issue, we could elevate it to be part of social media.
Well, I just mean that members of the community, organizations in the community, and actually going out with some footage of a location that's relevant. You know, if we're talking about something in the waterfront, actually show the scene, you know.
For instance, the water club, showing what that site looks like. But I mean, I guess that's what I mean is it's coming before a committee. So this is something that we could, you know, elaborate on. Probably, I mean, hopefully in the meeting, there's that type of information, but it certainly could be something we do. One thing, we're all volunteers. To actually generate content is a little more tricky than documenting content.
But someone's gonna be cutting this, right? I mean, someone's editing this somewhere.
Would you like to do that? No, you know what I mean. We don't- we
Every
actually-
time I talk, I volunteer.
And you'd never learn. Slow learner.
We actually don't have anyone to edit it unless it's whoever's compiling the content. So,
Sandy's right that we need to be realistic in the bandwidth that we have, but I gotta say, I actually rather like Stu's idea of, and it was specifically to the water club. You know, a quick 10-second video of, hey, this is the water club, and we've got a survey right now running about, if you have any ideas about what should happen to it, you know, click this link. I don't know that we have enough followers to like do the little swipe up link that Instagram does. Or, you know, they can find the link in our bio, but for select things, because we're actually getting a great response for our water club survey, but for select things like that, I think may be worth a try.
Jason,
Perhaps we could have some process for submitting content. If a member of the committee wants to put together a brief video of, say, the water club, somebody wanted to go take that out and then say, hey, like, I can put it together real quick, or I'm gonna be by there. So that it's not, the onus isn't necessarily on
one person.
one or two people to
Yeah.
put together all the content, that it can be like kind of collected, as long as it's ready for. Like I said, a format that can be simply put into
Right.
Instagram.
So I guess that's just, I think, sorry, Mark.
So, well, we also, remember SBA has always come to us and said, can somebody do something, we, like, if we want to do projects, maybe we could get an SBA student or two to be our videographers or something, like, you do it, but they actually do it.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, because SVA is in our district, right?
they're amazing students, so.
Oh, also, does anyone want to take pictures during full board meetings? I was trying to take a
I
few,
noticed you did that.
but yeah.
I figured it was for that.
Sorry, yeah. But I don't have the best angle, so if anyone wants to take pictures, it could just be from your iPhone,
Mhm.
but during meeting, let me know.
Yeah, we'll send the back row, because we make rude comments to the back row, so we can do that.
We do the
wave.
So, all right, so who's our?
We actually got a category of people who could do it.
Okay, and
And then
then,
you could just submit,
Yeah.
to the office,
Submit.
I
That we
like
got
that.
different angles and different
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, okay. embarrassing moments.
Yes, exactly.
great. Bringing up the SVA person, also is a nice segue into that. We got a notice about the planning fellows, and I'm not sure they still call them planning fellows. Did you receive that, Jesus, as well?
Just yesterday, yes,
Yes.
and the deadline is in less than a
The deadline is September 30th. And we've had, not tomorrow, but very close. We've had excellent results from the planning fellows that we have. And so far, they've been doing things that are basically land use related. They do not have to. They're planners, they're interested in, quite often they're interested in data and data analysis. Sometimes they're architecture students, so they want to design stuff, but transportation. And, just in terms of, in terms of businesses, just, we've talked a lot about trying to document all the illegal, cannabis shops. And somebody could actually take a deeper look into our district. Where are they? What's happening? How many have closed? When did they close?
Actually, I'll talk about that from yesterday's council meeting.
Right, but last year we had two. And I think one of the things that we did was we tried to focus on our budget requests as well. So it showed that it was a deep need for our district. But it would be excellent if we could get some proposals. You do have to write up your proposal. I think we can show you what have been done in previous years and, help you fine tune it. But if we had, I don't know if we're restricted to two, I think we can put in as many as we want.
In past years, we've been restricted to two. Let me see if
And
the,
I haven't looked at it too closely yet.
Are they opting in to these assignments as a,
They select.
two.
so we may not, is it possible that we?
It's possible that we
Put
know,
an article, put a proposal together that nobody likes?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do think about that. It's something, I know we had the proposal to look at public bathrooms and it's not.
We're restricted to two.
Restricted to two. So,
Two submissions or two acceptances?
There's two submissions.
so the fact that we got two is pretty good. Can we have a commitment from any of the committees to look at?
I like the idea of something, I'll take it.
Okay,
Yeah, I think,
public safety can,
and sanitation.
and sanitation. Absolutely.
What we can do is we can send the application materials to the exec committee. You guys can, in that website, look at past projects that other cohorts have done to give yourself an idea, some inspiration. But the application I have to submit the application. So
So is it restricted to committee, to a particular subject? How do can they be allocated?
They'll work with a committee. So, that's the only reason that it would, should come from a committee, because that's part of what they do. They will come to the committee meetings. They'll actually come to full board as well. I don't know if you remember the presentation on the POPs that we had. So, if it's not from a committee, it makes it more difficult for them to work. But it doesn't have to be, if someone has a good idea, you could approach a committee to adopt it. Absolutely. Unfortunately, they didn't give us very much time
I don't, yeah.
because
In the past, they've given us like 5 weeks. I don't know why.
Majed has the chair recognizes Majed.
Thank you. I'll just actually also vouch for these fellows. Last year and the year before, the folks we worked with were truly incredible. You might have seen the booklets we have in the office, the POPs, basically explaining what POPs are, pulling some precedents, like some serious work that's not necessarily planning or architecture, but rather focus more on engagement. So any of the topics you have at hand, they put some serious hours. I think last year they put collectively between both of them, maybe they put 100 hours or so. That's a good time we can use. So I highly recommend. I know this is a short turnaround, but I highly recommend that you consider that resource.
And certainly if there's another land use issue, that we are interested in.
We might compete with you on one of those. Yeah, I'll circle back with Gabe and see what we can come up with.
Yeah.
I'm open to not committing.
Well, let's
I can.
come up with some ideas,
Yeah.
and I think whatever idea you have, there can be help to flesh it out.
Given the tight timeline, I can't help think that maybe they'll accept things a little bit late, but I don't want to speak for them. I've not spoken to them about this, but it's very bizarre that they're not even giving us 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But if it can't come together in that time, it may, and if this program, as far as I know, it's been in existence for many, many, many years, couple decades, I think. It could be the sort of thing that throughout the entire year, you have an idea for a project, you start sketching it out so that you're ready to pounce once this thing gets released every single summer or late summer.
And really, it's a resource that we don't have. We can't do research in the same way. And it was really, really impressive, the amount of work. So, I think that's everything that I have. And we'll now hear from Jesus Perez, our district manager.
Thank you. I just want to say real quick, a kind of a thank you to Strauss Houses, one of only 2 NYCHA public housing developments that we have in our district. They invited Community Board 6 to table at their Family Day event this past weekend. CB6 was able to attend and stay the entire time and hand out information about Community Board 6. We have our flyer that we hand out to everyone that passed by to raise awareness of what this board does, as well as information about city services and projects that are near the building there on 28th and 2nd, between 2nd and 3rd, and 25th and 1st, as you all know, has a lot of activity. And so we had Spark brochures, master plan brochures that we got extra copies of from EDC, and we were there handing them out so that people are aware of the projects that are happening in their backyard. So again, thanks to the TA of Strauss Houses. I know COVID kind of threw a little wrench in our activities with them, but hopefully we can, every year we can continue to attend their events. And we certainly encourage members to eagerly sign up to staff those tables because it is a lot of fun and the office can't do it alone.
Yes, thank you, everyone. And a lot of food. Excellent. So yes, thank you for everybody who did come and staff our table.
That's it for me.
That's it. Okay. We're moving on to reviewing next month's committee agendas.
Rezo?
Well, that's not my script. But that's okay. Let's do that. a review of CB6 attendance policies regarding excused and unexcused absences. And I was the one who asked to clarify this because I get quite a few requests to say if someone's excused or not. And I'm sure there are many reasons why people can't attend, but I think we should have some consistency throughout the board. And probably chairs of individual committees are being asked this as well. So, I say if you can't attend, that's fine, but if you want to be excused, there should be sort of a number of reasons that are legitimate for being excused versus having something else come up. So we tried to put it in that definitely the members should contact the chair and the board at the same time, so that it's clear that whether you're going to be able to make it or not, you can then plan about quorum if you can't meet quorum. And then we tried to clarify things, I tried to clarify reasons why people I thought would legitimately be excused. And so can we military service, jury duty. I'm pretty sure jury duty doesn't last until late at night, but that's personal illness or death in the immediate family, travel that is work mandated, or attending to board business at the request of the chair. If there are other issues that people, or other reasons that people feel might be valid.
This is pretty much what we have always had before changed.
Pretty much, I think we added travel that is work mandated. Is that?
Could I change it slightly to work or like school mandated?
Oh.
Absolutely, that's a good addition.
Does that travel that is work or school mandated includes like the person is stuck at work?
I think that's a pretty legitimate excuse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, B, I'm sorry. The chair recognizes P.
Should we add anything
Oh,
in there
sorry.
about, sorry.
Sorry, B's.
So I just wanted to comment, when we discussed this with the bylaws, the reason we made it that the chair would make a decision of the committee or the chair of the board was it was very limiting before. It actually was military. It was personal illness. It did not include travel for business. It did not include some of the other things you see. So there's really two approaches that you could do with this. You either have the expanded list, which looks fine to me, or people are just absent, okay? And then at the end of the year, the chair looks at the attendance record and has the discussions. I mean, we've had a lot of discussions, Sandy, with people who haven't attended, and it is very, very hard to get someone off the board.
Mm.
And so the question is, do we want to go through this, or do we want to just say you're either present or absent?
And I actually think this may help us with that particular issue, so that we don't have to look at a year of absences and decide if any of them were legitimate or not. So that if we do it on a more granular level, we can see, we can then follow the bylaws. You've been absent for 6 months. There's no reason why you should be on the board. You've decided something's wrong. And sorry, Stu, you had your hand up first. Do you still?
Yeah, just a couple of questions. First, on the RSVP form, it talks about extraordinary circumstances. That's not part of the bylaws though, right?
That's a state law. An extraordinary circumstance is a circumstance that prevents you from being at a meeting in person. However, you do not count for quorum at that meeting. That's when you ask to attend on Zoom for an extraordinary circumstance, you can attend if you are allowed to. The chair has to agree. They can say, no, you can't attend that way. You either have to be in person or miss it.
So don't there have to be two different entries though? One for legitimate absence and one for extraordinary circumstance?
That's when you're here through extraordinary circumstance, you are not absent. That's a separate parallel scheme.
Okay, so absent is not, you can't be on Zoom if you're absent.
They're not related. You can be, on Zoom, but you're still attending the meeting.
For our purposes, what this means is you are not there, either in person or on Zoom.
On Zoom.
You're just somewhere else. And the
Okay.
extraordinary circumstance, all that other stuff is a state, it's an open meetings law thing through the state that is separate.
So then trivial language thing, I mean, I employ it myself. So if something is work mandated, it's because I mandated it.
You're a tough boss.
I'm a sweet guy.
I have the same condition. I do it for myself, but if I have a client meeting, I can.
Okay, so that, as long as that's work mandated, okay.
If that's gonna be the interpretation, I would probably advise, work or school commitments or something like that. Because
Yeah.
this literally means
Yeah.
your work or your school is sending you somewhere. Unless travel means, oh, we're sending me to the west side or something like that.
Yeah,
But
I like that.
work or school commitment, if it's gonna be that expansive,
Or business or school, yeah.
What about travel for school?
that's the work or school commitment.
Yeah.
Because this means travel, meaning you're not around to attend because work sent you somewhere or school sent you somewhere. But what if, like, so frequently happens, you have, your boss gives you a project at 5 o'clock and you cannot attend the meeting, you have to attend from your desk. That's really not covered in this. And if it's the board's wish that it is, then that language needs to be
Yeah.
modified.
that's why I asked about somebody that's stuck at work.
Right, so, or school, what was the word commitment?
Work or school commitments.
And sorry, Neil, you had your hand up, or you
Is it
said,
religious reasons? Should probably be in there somewhere for students.
Well, I think, the issue of religious absence is the fact is we're very careful when we have our meetings.
Right.
And
All right, that.
With the
that may not
holidays.
capture,
That's covered.
The board already has a resolution that outlines all the city sanctioned holidays plus a couple of additional religiously themed holidays that we do not schedule meetings on. Now, if you look at the DOT alternate side parking calendar, has all sorts of things I've not even heard of. So if we want to do that, well then we're not having meetings.
yeah, I mean.
But
with
that's
the,
up to all of you.
the like religious exception there, I mean, there's certainly a lot of different things that would come up that are not recognized holidays or like a death in the family, even if that individual is not an immediate member of the family, that person may not be able to attend meetings for a month or.
I think a good example there would be like Ramadan, where the timing or it's not a specific holiday that we don't have meetings on, but it might be not an appropriate time somebody might not be able to make the meeting.
We fast then.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in summers if the days are long.
right?
Yeah, his hand is up.
Oh, B, go ahead, sorry.
Can you hear me? I can't tell if
Yes.
okay. So as you keep adding to the list, you get more complicated.
Yeah.
And you get to deal with the issues that individual chairs now and Sandy has been dealing with as, evaluating excuses. So either you stay with, and this is an expanded list than what was on the bylaws when we looked at it. I think it looks reasonable. And you're not going to cover everything because then you get into a difficult situation that you might as well have absent or attending.
Listen,
Could I offer an alternative option, which is absent notified and like sort of I think as far as I've been evaluating these, I pretty much evaluated whether or not I was notified that they were making it, and if I was
Yeah.
told they weren't gonna be there, then I consider them excused. I think.
well,
Lenny, you know
notified,
what I
I'm going to a party.
Yeah.
Is that,
Well, will you plan a trip? And I don't consider that an excuse because you have the calendar.
And, you know, the other thing is, it's not like, it's not like we're incredibly strict about maintaining.
Yeah.
If you decide that you want to miss a meeting for a reason that's outside of these, you certainly can, it's your decision.
Well, to your point on reviewing them, with somebody's point was that you might review the absences
At the end of the
at the
year.
end of the year. You might want to look at that point, you could say, okay, let's talk about the ones where let's evaluate the ones where you notified us you weren't gonna be there. What were the reasons? And then the chair could be making the decision about like whether or not those were legitimate reasons
I don't wanna do,
or appropriate reasons. Okay, that's fair.
I really don't.
Fair enough.
I think B is right. You either have two, you really only have two options here. You have something reasonable like this, or something like you're either here or you're not. From a record keeping standpoint, I rather like that. But it does,
It's a
it
little,
might spook folks.
yeah, it's a little draconian, people may think it's. But it's clear. And B, sorry, you have your hand raised. Would you like to
Oh, I'm
speak?
sorry. No, I didn't take it down. Sorry.
I don't think here or not here is that draconian. This is a thing you signed up for, that had a commitment of, whatever meetings, and when you're not able to attend, then. I think perhaps. There should be an expectation that you should be making an effort, all reasonable effort to attend. You might miss some occasionally here or there,
Mm.
And most of us can zoom in anyway. I mean, it's,
only if it's extraordinary.
well,
Or disabled. If you're disabled, you can, the state law allows you to just zoom in, no questions asked.
And, I mean, I must say, I've never said that someone can't zoom in. I don't think any chair here has ever said that, so I'm not sure that's, I mean, yes. People can do that, it's perfectly. Majed,
So
please go
just
ahead.
to clarify, and sorry if I missed this earlier, if someone is zooming in, like my case right now, being still at work, we can still just say, all right, you count towards quorum because you're exerting circumstances that you had to work late. Is that correct?
The different issue, you're not absent,
Yeah, so that's a question. Yeah, I understand the issue that you're not absent, but can they count towards quorum? Can we expand what's a extraordinary circumstance?
State law prohibits you from counting for quorum if you're on Zoom at a meeting due to an extraordinary circumstance. The only way CB6 will not consider you absent, but you cannot count towards quorum. The only way you can count towards quorum if you're on Zoom is if you submitted testimonial that you are disabled, either temporarily or permanent.
Noted.
Okay. Then you can attend on Zoom, then you can count for quorum, and that's no questions asked. The chair does not have to approve you.
Stu,
Just so I'm clear on this, and I won't be, if you are out of town on a work commitment, and you zoom in, you are not absent, so that this doesn't apply to you, that's
not absent.
extraordinary circumstance.
For CB6's purposes, you're not absent.
You just don't count towards quorum.
do we have a motion to revise the language to be, you are either present or you will be counted as, you're either present on Zoom or in person, or you will be counted absent?
Is that a bylaws amendment?
It's an amendment to the proposal. Yes, this is an amendment to the bylaws.
Okay.
So it'll come to October's full board, and then it'll have to come again to November's. It'll be noticed at October's full board, and it'll be voted on at November's.
I'd put motion to modify clause 1 there, to say absent.
Or if you're not present on Zoom or in person, then you are considered absent from the meeting. That would be the text. Do we have someone to second that?
Second, third.
All right, so if there's no more discussion, we will vote on the amended resolution. I guess we do that by roll call.
Yes.
And is everybody clear on the amendment that we're making? It's not this, it's if you are not present, we're.
You have
Mark,
to
I'll
know-
let you do that.
If you're not present or on Zoom, then you're.
Then you're absent.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay,
And copy.
all right, so I will call every member's name. You will please indicate whether you are in favor, opposed, abstain, or not entitled. Majed Abdul Samad,
In favor.
thank you. Kyle Tide, Kyle Tide,
We can come back to.
all right, we'll come back to him. Neil Barkley,
In favor?
thank you. Elvi Barosa,
In favor.
thank you. John DeRico is not here. Stu Desser,
In favor?
thank you. B. Disman,
In favor?
thank you. Jason
In
Fromowitz,
favor?
thank you. Rupal Kakad,
In favor.
thank you. John Keller,
In favor.
thank you. Nadeem Kalali,
In favor.
thank you. Anton Melner,
In favor.
thank you. Sandy McKee,
In favor?
thank you. Rich Mintz is not here. Livia Shrednick,
In favor.
thank you. Mark Thompson,
In favor?
thank you. Gabe Terzo is not here. With 13 members voting in favor, no opposed, no abstentions, no non-entitles. This motion carries and moves on to October's school board.
Okay, so now we're on to reviewing the next month's committee agendas, and starting off, we have budget and government affairs.
Awesome. Yeah, we have an early meeting for October. We actually have it September 30th. This is the big meeting of the year that I feel like I always talk about at these meetings, but it's the one where we're going to be talking through the budget and passing our budget. So the main reminder I would say for everybody here is just make sure you have your updated requests submitted ahead of that date so we can review them. As well, the other thing I would just remind everybody is we have those 3 new criteria we added to the Airtable. If you can fill those out, that would be really helpful for us as we evaluate and have to rank the priorities, as that's something that we sort of go through every year. And then we'll continue on with sort of more typical governmental affairs business in the November meeting.
And just, I know that we've tried to give a very good overview of what the process is, but some people are still confused of who we're actually asking for these requests, who they're to, and then the kind of process of how we get them, we get the actual funding or not. So maybe at the beginning of your meeting, there could be this really, high level, broad discussion, review of what actually this is for. And how it's worked.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely do that. I think I agree with you. It'd be helpful as part of like the public hearing where anybody who's there can just get a better sense of sort of how the structure works. I know people will come just for this meeting. So yeah, we'll make sure to include that. It's a good suggestion.
Perhaps at full board?
And well, before the presentation at full board.
Oh yeah, we can do that there too. Yeah, for sure.
Great, thank you. Next is Parks, Landmarks and Cultural Affairs.
Pickleball. So, yeah, we will have that. We will talk about if there is going to be a pickleball court at Vincent Albano or not. If there will be a basketball court. We've reached out to people in the community and we'll post this online once the meeting's over. Let's see, so that's one. Number 2, possible adding something to the budget, and Matt knows about this, resurfacing the handball courts where a lot of people play pickleball. It's still technically a handball court, but to resurface that, and we will have the parks report.
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
so are we adding something or something to the agenda or adding something to the budget request?
So the budget, but we can add to the agenda, we can add, presentation from St. Martin Conservancy. About, I guess, what, budget requests for resurfacing handball courts?
And just the pickleball court, I think, did the Parks Department have a proposal for how to have pickleball and other uses? I'm trying to, I think they suggested a timed.
For Vincent Albano?
Yeah, for Vincent Albano.
Yeah, we went through that and Mark is on the committee as well. you know, we looked at a lot of different things. What time could they start? What type of rackets? Because Mark even knows someone that, manufactures rackets that help, I guess. Yeah. We asked about certain types of like, I guess like padding. You know, the hours, that's pretty much, you would have to have pickleball players say, we're not going to play at 9. I mean, we're not going to play until 9, so that's difficult. How do we enforce that? We only have 3
And
pickleball.
actually, I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, we don't need to go through it, but I did think that Parks Department, are they going to present a possible solution?
Oh, well, that's what we'll talk about again. I mean, the
Okay,
point
at
is
the-
that,
at the
I was just putting it out there as in like, we did look at everything. We looked
Yeah.
at like different parts of the country and how they've done it and how far it's been. I mean, so
Yeah.
we would love to have some type of compromise, and that's something even before this came up with the resolution that we had talked about, trying to get people together to think about it. And
Okay.
we've talked about this now. I'm sorry, Anton's also on the committee, so we have talked about this a number of times.
Okay.
Yeah,
So there could be a positive outcome.
Oh, we would love, yeah, I mean, that would
Okay.
be fantastic,
That's
but
all.
if not, it would be basketball. But a good thing is that if it is basketball, it's still an activity
Yeah.
for the community. And if we get the resurfacing of the handball courts, that's still, you know, has a positive impact for people who do play handball and
Pickleball, yeah.
it's a, you know, it's a nice balance. We would love to reach some type of compromise. I mean, that would be the best.
So regarding the language of the agenda, so this one kind of makes it sound like. My understanding is that the current construction plan is that there will be a pickleball court at Albano Park. Is the discussion whether there should be one or not?
No, so that right there, I mean, it's pretty much. I mean, I'm saying potential because I think it was added, right? Later on, it was initially basketball and then it was updated to pickleball. But then I think at the last meeting that we had, they just said that, okay, so we won't put the lines down if it's that. Yeah, I would say, yeah.
So it's about whether
I
there
would
should
say
be a
potential, yeah.
a
yeah,
pickleball
you know,
court at Albano Park.
Yeah,
There's the sign at the park says there's going to be a pickleball. Yeah, all right, public safety and sanitation.
Oh, we have no meeting, in October. It's a holiday, Rosh Hashanah, I think. Some of our members are nonetheless actively working, for the November meeting. And during this period, we will continue to try to draw blood from the city and see if they'll give us some information and data. And they won't, but we'll keep working on it.
Okay. All right, transportation.
Okay, I'm sorry, before we go,
Oops, sorry.
regarding resurfacing handball court.
Yeah.
Okay,
now. Just on that first one though, discussion about whether there should be a pickleball court at Albano, but Mark, what did you think?
I was
Is it
thinking
a
like-
possibility or?
About a possible pickleball court, because it's sort of. It's a little semantics.
Yeah, cause I think should there be. Someone, the first sentence, they could say, well, let me tell you, there shouldn't be.
about pickleball at Albano Playground?
That
Yes,
sounds good, yeah, there's nothing, yeah.
yeah, that's fine, have it broad.
Yeah. Just want to make sure that we're framing the language as clearly as possible so the public knows whether they want to attend or not. Okay. And this is the resurfacing of the handball court. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, sorry, thank you.
We've lively meeting plans for transportation. First 3 are covered under link kiosks. We talked about it briefly last meeting. There was a desire to hear from OTI and or Link NYC about 5G kiosks in general. Unclear if they're going to be able to make it, but if not, we'll reach some decision about the proposed kiosks. Then we have water main project in Irving Place, fairly typical roadwork water main from EDC. And then lastly, we have a grocery store that is requesting a change in parking regulations The 47th Street. Between Second Avenue, yeah, 47th Street, and basically the corner of 47th Street, and Second Avenue. They want to add a no parking area for deliveries. This new site, new proposed grocery store. That's all.
Can I just ask, what's our voice on the water main question? Do we say, no, you can't do it, or?
That's a great question. I mean, I suppose we could, I think we'll probably,
It's more informational.
Yeah,
Just
just
more
find out what
information.
they-
They want to present it so that the community knows about it. We don't have veto power over it, but if you have, there are concerns that the community or that the committee can raise about, oh, you may want to watch out for this and this and that.
Traffic detours.
Our recommendations for, modifying slightly to accommodate.
yeah, we could pass a resolution of route requests or something like that, but yeah. I would expect that it'll probably just be in the original.
Speaking about OTI, we did follow up with them today. They still were not able to commit to attending the meeting. However, Brendan tells me that at your last meeting, there were a series of 10 specific questions the committee
Yes.
had. Brendan forwarded those questions back then to OTI, and they have been working with their City Bridge partner to get answers to those questions. I think
Okay.
they're sort of being reviewed right now by the higher ups. So if the OTI comes, then we'll remove the tentative from that agenda item, but so as not to prolong it further, delay it further, we're gonna put it up as tentative. If they do not come, are you still
Yes.
discussing the 5G program?
Yes,
We're just
yeah.
taking reference of a presentation out of there?
Yeah, and honestly, even if we don't get the responses, we should still have those discussions to kiosks and make a decision on whether or not we want to oppose or do nothing. Or
Okay.
support them.
Okay, health and environment.
Okay, so we have a presenter coming from NYU Langone on emergency department, and I think we have another presenter that's coming to talk about the air quality. No?
No, that's
Yeah.
a separate meeting that Sandy has asked someone from the committee to attend. Sandy,
No, there's another one. Oh, yeah, that's the one, the presentation on the smoke tree. That's the one.
yeah, but it's smoke, this kind of smoke.
This one is smoke free. And in November, in place of a meeting, we are thinking of holding a webinar on COVID-19 vaccine, because we want to let the community know whether they need to get the annual vaccine and the importance of getting the annual vaccine. And also about West Nile and Mpox.
And just, West Nile, the mosquitoes are gone in November.
Yeah, but there were questions about what's West Nile. We don't have to talk, we
Yeah.
don't have to include about West Nile, but
And
what about the Mpox?
how
I
many
mean,
actual cases of impacts have there been in our district?
I don't have the number.
I think there were 5 Manhattan-wide, something like that. So I'm wondering if we shouldn't, I know at the meeting, there was the discussion about issues that are health issues of, for instance, air quality and obesity apparently came up as 2 kind of things in our district that are that we should take a look at. So maybe it might be good to include those. I thought it was very interesting that our air quality is actually quite bad. I mean, it makes sense. We have the tunnel and other things, and I know there was some discussion about that, and that might be a good one to sort of pull into that information to our community. But we don't need to decide now. We have more time till November's agenda. Okay, health, or housing and homelessness. Rich isn't here. He can't make it.
He's not here tonight, but this note pertains to October. He will not be available for the October meeting, so someone else will have to chair because he doesn't have a vice chair yet. there's always a possibility of canceling, but he didn't seem to want to do that.
Yeah, there would be 2 meetings in a row. Can the chair?
He is not available.
Oh, sorry, me.
Oh, you. I think there's some, I need to look at the bylaws. I think there's some provision saying that you are,
Can't vote.
ex officio on all the committees.
I think I did it.
He has Kyle in mind, but I don't think anything's been settled yet.
Yeah, Kyle's not here, so.
But essentially, right now, no agenda yet for October, no chair for October.
I don't mind doing it if that's,
Agenda.
yeah, I mean, Rich is in Spain.
Ole?
Yeah. He's having a good time. So he said he was gonna come up with an agenda in the next few days, so I believe we will have an agenda.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's at least plan on having a meeting.
I can help if, I'm happy to help if.
Okay.
if
Great.
needed.
I had some ideas too, if you. So when we need to get it to, we need to do it in the next few days, is that?
Well, I mean, the sooner the better, but given that it's happening October 21st, we at the very least want to be done, have it all settled a week in advance, preferably 2. So,
So-
if by the end of the month, early October, that would be preferable.
Okay. Youth and education, we don't have anyone from youth and education here either.
No, and they're not here, and they would prefer to settle on their agenda after their September meeting has occurred.
Sounds quite reasonable, okay. Land use and waterfront. Ajay?
Well, this is October, let me switch back to the September.
Yep, and while you're putting that, Jesus, I put it in the chat. So we have 3 key things to discuss. We are getting a presentation from Esker, the parallel conveyance. Yep, exactly. That project, we're getting an update. Unfortunately, the update by EDC on the Greenway, the UN Esplanade has been rescheduled, so it's not happening, but we'll get Esker update. We will discuss the Water Club. That's as part of our discussion of the FDR waterfront access. This should be exciting. Do attend. Please share any ideas we have. We are looking at what can be done as a tactical urbanism and interim intervention there, using chalk, paint, quick materials, without ruffling too much feathers, showing how the community can reclaim and activate its own spaces. So that should be exciting. And the last is our annual budget discussions.
And for number 2, it will be, there'll be a resolution, you think?
I think so. I mean, if the board speaks in the form of resolutions, maybe we'll put something together to summarize discussions.
And I'm just, it's probably time sensitive and that our officials have asked us to weigh in as quickly as possible. So I don't know, do we need to prepare something ahead of time?
That would be ideal. There was one draft, but it needs a lot of work. But I spoke to EDC and they said that, because this was back when there was going to be ideally a resolution in August. And they're like, we are so swamped with Spark and Innovation East and holes in the Queens Midtown Tunnel that, we may kick this can down the road. So
Yeah.
October would be nice, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure it would be the end of the world if it had to be November.
But I'm not sure we want to kick it down the road because the further we kick it down the road, it shows we're not as interested,
Then my next question will be, we've had a great response to the survey that we've been running for several weeks in our online communications and on our website. So far, 130 people have chimed in, indicating what they want. And it's sort of a free response survey, so we didn't give them any pre-selected choices. So I've gone through and sort of for tabulation's sake, categorize them and stuff, but does the committee leadership, do they want to see the responses? Some of them are actually rather interesting. I've read all of them. But how do you, I mean, that, you could probably find material for a resolution within those responses. I tried to feed it to ChatGPT and see if it could give me like a summary at the very least. It still needs to work on that, but, how do you guys want these results? Cause people took of their time to fill it out. We'd love to use it.
Okay, that all sounds great. This will be part of the discussion then, Jesus. I'll follow up to ask for the most recent.
What, and do you want me to send you the results? Do you want me to send it to the entire committee? Do you want me to, what, I don't know what.
So actually, if you can send me the results to me and Gabe, we're just gonna put something together and share with everybody after.
Okay.
So yeah, we will send it to the full committee before the meeting, but we just want to package it so it's not just floating information for them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. All right, we go on to business affairs and licensing.
Oh, and one more
Oh,
question.
sorry, I'm sorry.
We're about to send a reminder email to your committee regarding your September 23rd meeting. Is there anything regarding the FDR item that you want us to send to the committee, or is it just you give them everything you need at the meeting?
They'll get everything they need at the meeting. I'll
Okay.
send you something very quickly. We have one request for the committee to prep ideas before they show up. So we have that in writing. I'll send it in an email to you right now, Jesus.
Wonderful, yeah, because hopefully we'll send this email to the committee tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Anton.
Am I there?
Yeah.
It's still information.
We have a number of requests for liquor licenses, sorry. One for Sidewalk Cafe, as I recall.
Yes, Bjork Cafe.
Bjork Cafe. The only other thing I want to add is that yesterday I tuned in on a city council meeting and very boring for 2.5 hours. And the gist of the meeting was a discussion of reporting requirements that the sheriff's office should be disseminating to not only the public, but obviously the city council. And the sheriff's office was pushing back because it would be too administrative, it's too much work for them. But Liz Kruger kept at it, I think. I think they will be more transparent. Among the things that we reported, not only how many they shut down, to follow up on the shutdowns, but they've been re-shut down, and various other statistics, which I think would be very interesting to the general public, council, as well as business affairs.
Okay. All right. I think that's it. If any of them, a member of the committee has old or new business, please raise your hand. Okay, sorry, I was reading that. I was reading the screen. If there are no objections, we will, oh wait, I'm sorry. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Okay, if there are no objections, we'll adjourn the meeting. Seeing no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 7:32.